And marriage is about responsibilities and duties and cooperation between the spouses. And that the wife understands that when her husband, who tries his utmost and works hard in seeking knowledge, worshipping Allah, looking after his family, seeking employment, earning a salary, that she should be grateful to Allah for the good that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given her, and grateful to her husband for the efforts that he makes for his family, even if the provision is small. The issue is not about huge amounts of wealth. The issue is not about amassing the dunya, because Allah will give you what is written for you before you die. You will not die up until your rizq that was written for you has come to you, my sister. The wealth that was written for you has come to you. You will not die up until it has come to you. Because that is the decree of Allah. What has been written will come to you. And it is not about amounts. Even if the provision is small and they suffer through hard times, she is still grateful, because she realizes that this is the true rajul. This is the true man. A man of honor, a man of courage, a man of bravery, a man who is hardworking, a man who prays, a man who fasts, a man who attends duroos, a man who goes to bed tired because of the effort that he put in for his deen and his dunya and his family throughout the days. Why would you say to this man when you become angry, you have never done anything to me? Why do you need to crush his soul and make him resentful towards you? Why do you want to constrict the house upon him? Why do you want him to have bad and evil thoughts towards you? How often was the case that the Salaf would suffer with hunger and poverty, yet they would remain sincere and grateful to Allah? Many a woman who would have a poor husband, from the prophets and the messengers, from the Sahaba and from the righteous and from the pious, they would have husbands who were poor. They would live in means that were constrained. 6 of them sharing an apartment with one room and just a stove to cook upon. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Does that not happen throughout the world? In the lands that are afflicted with poverty, in Africa, in Asia, in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh. Across the world you'll find, even in this country, people living in poverty. How many people are below what they call the breadline? They don't have enough money to put bread onto the table, even in the land that you are living in. Yet we cannot stop complaining. We cannot stop our ingratitude. We cannot stop our tongues from displaying that ingratitude and our hearts feeling resentful because you don't have as much as your neighbor does, or as much as so-and-so does. Be grateful for what Allah has given you. The fact that you can breathe, that you can drink, you can walk, you can talk, you can eat. You don't go to bed hungry at night. Quite the opposite, in fact. Such that even health has become an issue in our community. But we still complain. You eat and you eat and you eat and you become big. Yet we still complain. He's not doing enough. What do you want? You eat and you eat and you eat and you become big. Yet we still complain. He's not doing enough. What do you want? What do we want? The majority of the inhabitants of the hellfire are women. So seek forgiveness and give in charity, and don't be ungrateful. How often would be the case that the Sahaba would go hungry for days? Abu Hurairah, you don't know the stories? Tying rocks to their bellies to keep away the hunger. The Prophet ﷺ would walk out of his house because he was hungry just to walk it off. He would see Abu Bakr because he had left the house for the same reason, hungry. Umar, hungry. How were their wives? How were their daughters? When the name Abu Bakr is mentioned today, what do you think? Did not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise him? And Umar and Abu Huraira, the greatest narrator of the hadith of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yet days would go by and they would suffer with hunger. If they're suffering with hunger, their wives are suffering with hunger. So seek nearness to Allah and His bounties, my sisters, through worship and dhikr and seeking forgiveness and showing gratitude towards your husbands, towards your fathers. Be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Treat your husbands well. If they fall short, then put your hand into their hands and cooperate to make things better.